Hello everyone, and now welcome to game 2 in this series. And what? Is it between Nurtio and Feast again? Right. Apparently this is... Alright, it was Bly in game 1. Alright, so it is a Zerg versus Protoss once more. Nurtio taking Bly's place, as Nurtio has spawned as the blue Zerg on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Feast has spawned as the red Protoss on the top right. This is, of course, Daybreak. Daybreak, generally a Zerg-favored map, as the number of bases that a Zerg player can set up on is relatively high, and even being able to set up a base here at about the 4-minute mark. So it could turn into a 3-base Zerg versus a 2-base Protoss, with no real action coming in until perhaps the 6 or 7-minute mark, where players started to try and feel out their opponent. Now, Feast is coming in. It looks like he will be trying to go for a Nexus first once more. And now Feast has two options for this Forge Fast expansion. It looks as though Feast is deciding to build that pylon closer to his natural expansion, meaning that the Zerg units will be able to have all this ground area on the high ground to take a look around and reposition himself. Sometimes Zerg players do try and move this pylon up a little bit more forward, limit the amount of room that Zerg players have to position their units, and make them walk more in a single file line in order to get up these ramps here and here. Now, Nurtio deviating from Bly's build as of last game, going for spawning pool first. Meanwhile, Feast is actually going for this Nexus first again. We are going to see a hatchery already placed down by Nurtio as well, so rather quick play coming in. We should be getting in a queen as well, and now only time will tell when Nurtio is going to be going for that third base, if he even goes for a third base. All right, there you go. There's the queen now being trained, sitting at 17/18 supply. Nexus almost halfway done, now halfway done, as we are going into the forge on the front door. Another pylon being placed down and a gateway soon to follow, and perhaps we will see some assimilators down as well. Now, Feast in game 1 didn't really get a mothership core all that early. A lot of the times I really like it when players do go for that mothership core a bit earlier, as it is a spellcaster unit. So even if your opponent is not attacking, you are still gaining energy on that mothership core, and we all know how effective some of those spells can be. That time warp, making units much slower, or that photon overcharge, turning your Nexus into a long 13 range cannon, always very helpful if your opponent does try to play aggressive on you. However, if you want to be aggressive, you also have the Scroll of Town portal or that mass recall to head back home if things get a little bit dicey and a little bit uncomfortable. All right, Probe does spot that there is in fact a third base here. Let's take a look at it. Yes, Nurtio has been scouted out. Harvester count is now seen at 26-20. Nurtio much further ahead than Bly was at this time. And with that, I believe Nurtio just wants to try to take an even stronger economic lead. Let's see what the follow-up play will be. It doesn't look as though a third base will be taken anytime soon. We could also perhaps see... Nope, we are going to go into a very quick robotics facility. No mothership core. And it could Feast perhaps go for 2 base all-in with Sentry Immortal. You can see that we're already running up on... Or we will soon be running up on 3 gas, which does tell me that that is within the realm of possibility. Meanwhile, Feast is still seen at 38 supply compared to Nurtio's 42. And now Nurtio is still sitting on 3 bases. No quick tech to tier 3 that I can see. And with that, I don't know what Nurtio's plan is going to be. He cannot attempt to take down Feast with only just tier 1 units of Roaches, Zerglings, and Banelings. If I believe Feast spots this, he will just simply respond with Immortals and Sentries, limiting the surface area and also having very high burst damage against those Roaches. You can see 4 gas is already up and running. That is going to be about 480 gas a minute. And with that 480 in gas a minute, I am very curious as to figuring out what Feast is going to be doing. Nurchio, on the other hand, still only sticking on 2 gas, getting Zerg Carapace upgrades, and now finally taking his 3rd and 4th Geyser, but that is significantly delayed over his opponent. Nurchio does have a very strong economy though, 51 drones versus 44 probes. And all we're seeing now is more drones being added, and we are also seeing a Spore Crawler being trained up. This is most likely because he suspects that there will be some sort of airplay, which may not necessarily be the case. Alright, Zergling quickly taken out there as the Mothership Core now on the move to see what all that it can see. Alright. Mothership Core now simply flying over across the map. Is it going to really be able to spot or do anything? Zerglings now making their way forward. And I think Feast just wants to catch some of these units out in the open field. Phoenix does fly by, does scout out his opponent, who is now taking the tier 2. Nurchio still looking very strong here as the Mothership Core decides not to move and attack here. I guess the Mothership Core cannot move and attack, or is it one of those units where they can kind of slide because of the deceleration? Alright, here we go. Zerglings now ready to return back home. Are they going to be able to hold off this location? There is one Photon, one upgrade at the Forge here, as we do see, in fact, Zerglings falling to the Mothership Core. 3 bases to 3. Feast sitting at 73 supply. Nurchio sitting at 92. As the Phoenixes are still making a move out and scouting out much of the map. Nurchio just trying to win this game purely on Zerglings, it appears. He has 39 Zerglings, 3 Queens, and that is it. He is going into a Hydralisk Den and a Spire just in case his opponent does try to get tricky either with Oracles or Void Rays or Colossi, as Zerglings do generally melt when hit by Colossi lasers. Zerglings looking to push in here. Nurchio sitting at 108. Feast still sitting at 97. And what is Nurchio going to do to follow this up? He does have 0-1 armor upgrades. Meanwhile, 1-0 for Feast, so it is pretty much a wash at this point as the Overseer now backing off. Meanwhile, you can see the Mothership Core perhaps looking to engage here, and this would be the perfect time to engage if Nurchio wanted to before that Mothership Core got too close. That would be a very, very painful fight, as now here we go. Immortals, Zealots, Sentries. The Sentries quickly see the number of Zealots and goes, you know what, I do not want any of that business. Let me just try and do a quick run around and catch some Stalkers. Alright, Stalkers not taken down here as the Zerglings now run after all of these units again. Excuse me, the Protoss units run after all of these units again, as Nurchio still has about a 30 supply advantage. 70 workers versus 44. This is just not looking good for Feast. Feast does not have the income, and he is significantly behind overall, as we now see the Zealots fighting against the Zerglings. The Mutalisks going straight up after the Colossus. The Colossus will get taken down, and now all the Mutalisks going after all those Guardian shields. There's a quick time warp. All those units now will be taken out. Zealot now trying to fight back as well. What is going to be happening here as the Immortals and Zealots need to make their way up the ramp? Meanwhile, it looks as though, yes, the Mutalisks are going to clean up another Immortal and Colossus as the units are now looking to back away. Double Immortal. Zealot. Oh, and a mass recall. Was it enough to return it home? Yes, just enough. Mothership Core realized that it needs to get the heck out of there. Not a good place for a mother to be. Yeah, the Mothership Core to be if you are outnumbered. Alright, Mutalisks now engaging against Stalkers. No Guardian Shield up as Nurchio just focusing down unit after unit. Mothership Core has arrived, but it does not have any abilities yet as it is currently low on energy. And there is the GG by Feast. Nurchio taking game 2 rather easily to even up the score. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 2.